What's up, guys? So today we're going to be revisiting the Galaxy S10 5G here. It's a very cool phone. I really like this older flagship. Like I said, if you're overseas, this is a really good option, and it feels a little bit more modern than the S10 series, the regular S10 series. Simply because it's a bigger size. So you guys remember the S10 Plus, it's a 6.4 inch phone, but this is a 6.7 inch phone, and it feels like a little bit more modern because of the size. Yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into this phone. This phone very cheap, $234 right now on Amazon, and that is for the Verizon version. You'll pay a little bit more extra money for the unlocked version, since this phone is just like, there's not a ton of these phones that you can find unlocked. A lot of them are going to be on a locked carrier to like T-Mobile, Verizon, someone like that. But you can find them unlocked on Amazon and eBay for sure. Alright, so this is still a fantastic phone, just like the S10 series in general. It is a really nice phone, and one interesting thing about this S10 series in general is that it still has the pill-shaped notch. Now, what's pretty interesting about the pill-shaped notch is that it kind of looks like the iPhone's notch, as you guys can see there. So I don't know if you guys notice. Kind of looks like the iPhone's notch, and I don't know if the iPhone's is bigger. I think the iPhone is slightly bigger. So it's funny how the iPhone's display is just kind of behind still. And this phone came out in what, 2019? Yeah, so the reason why I really like this phone is simply because of the display. Like I said, it's bigger, so it feels a little bit more modern for a big phone, a flagship phone. It's 6.7 inches dynamic AMOLED display. It's HDR10 plus, and it's a full 1440p display, 502 for the PPI, and it's a beautiful display. Now, for the the double punch hole that has the depth sensor up front, basically you don't really notice it once you start using it. Like when you first get it, you might just your eyes might be fixated on it, but after a while it just becomes like any other punch hole. You don't really notice it, and I think the decision to put it to the right hand side is definitely really good. I think it's less distracting even than the 14 Pro, having it in the middle there. Yeah, so absolutely beautiful display. Still a very modern looking display and design on this phone for it coming out again in 2019 here. Beautiful colors on here, super bright, super vibrant display on here, super high resolution icons, and everything look really crispy. Like I said, I think the Galaxy S10 series and Note 10 series, I think it'll go down as one of Samsung's best smartphone lineups. I think these phones are just really timeless at this point. Now, this phone does not have SD card support, unfortunately. So if SD card support is something that you gotta have, I would go with the S10 Plus. But yeah, it's pretty interesting because they took that out for some reason, but at least you get 256 gigs on the base storage. So at least they don't do like the S23 and have a 128 gig base storage with no SD card support. So yeah, it's really not that bad. I've never been able to fill up 256 gigs myself. But like I said, you take a lot of video and stuff like that, you probably want to get the S10 Plus. Yeah, so absolutely a beast of a chip, and I'll show you guys the Geekbench scores here just in case you've never seen them. And also, one thing about this phone is, here you go with the scores right here, so you can see that. And like I said, just using the phone, you can just tell it's still very fast when it comes to just getting into applications and stuff like that. There's nothing feels slow about this phone. I think what's really impressive about this phone is the stereo speakers. They are really loud. Like, these speakers sound absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best that I've heard on Samsung device. Honestly, it's almost kind of on par with the S23 Ultra. Like, super loud, very good bass, very good mids and highs. It's just a really good speaker. Also on top of that, you also have your under the display fingerprint sensor. You do have face unlock. Now this phone got its last major OS update with Android 12 One UI 4.1. It still pretty much has everything that the S23 Ultra would have, like Samsung desktop support, reverse wireless charging, the secured folders. Basically everything is pretty much in here, all of your essential stuff. So it's not really missing anything compared to the newer phones. And also you still have a headphone jack. And also let's go ahead and talk about the build quality on here. It's still a very nice looking phone. Now, this color does get like a lot of smudges and stuff like that, but it's still a really nice, classy looking device here for sure. Full glass and metal, really, really solid to hold. Doesn't feel uncomfortable. That's what I liked about the S series. These phones are way more comfortable to hold. Even though this is a bigger phone, it doesn't feel, you know, uncomfortable to hold here. And I just like everything about this phone. The way the buttons feel, very clicky. The haptics are really nice on here. So it's a very good hardware. I think a pretty solid design on here. Alright, so as far as the cameras go, these still take really, really good photos. Like I said, you know, basically with all older flagships, the only thing they don't pretty much do well is in sort of like a lower light photography. That's where you can see the, you know, obvious difference with the newer phones. But if we're in any type of outdoor settings, I think the photos still look really, really good. I don't think there's a dramatic difference with like older phones and, you know, these newer flagships. So this has a 12 megapixel standard, a 12 megapixel telephoto. It does 2x optical zoom, then a 16 megapixel ultra wide, and then it has a 0.3 depth sensor, and then it can shoot in 4K 60 on the front and back, and then you have a 10 megapixel selfie cam as well too, with also, you know, that, you know, depth sensor. Basically, like I said, when you're just taking random stills, just taking stills in outdoors or any good light conditions, it still takes really, really good shots. Check out the comparisons that I did with this phone. I think you'll still be pretty impressed. But like I said, you take it out of any good lighting, then you'll start to notice the age of the phone. It will look a little bit soft, you know, just lacking detail, stuff like that, a little grainy. But other than that, I think the photos, as you can see for yourself, they still look really good. Very nice, crisp photos, really good popping, you know, colors on here as well too. I really like the pictures on here. Like I said, the cameras don't age like a lot of people think they do. They really try to sell people up on like the megapixels and stuff like that. But your average person is just going to do a point and click. Most people don't even turn on the 200 and 108 megapixel setting. They don't even know to do it.
Alright guys, here's the video.
So yeah, so I think the cameras on here still look really good. Lastly is the battery life. This phone still has excellent battery life. It's got a 4500 milliamp battery, the best battery life with the S10 series. And also you do have technically the 5G support on here as well. But you know, if you use the phone, I'm telling you, you get pretty much all day battery life with this phone still. It's really, really impressive how good the battery life is on this model here. So you also have, like I said, the wireless charging and reverse wireless charging on here as well. And this phone actually charges you know, decently fast at 25 watts, not anything too crazy. But yeah, I really like the S10 5G. If this phone had like a high refresh rate, it would just feel like a phone that came out this year, honestly. And obviously minus the, you know, the double punch hole design, which honestly, if you think about it, if the iPhone has it, it's actually not really that outdated now technically. But yeah, so I actually really like this phone, guys. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.